All right, let's jump straight into this explainer and map out the visual blueprint for escaping modern chaos. Look, we live in a world where everybody is trying to sell you a fast track to success, right? And usually it's packed with loud noises and endless hustle. But today, we're unpacking something totally different. We're going through a 12-habit journey that takes you from frantic, everyday stress into a state of deep, systemic calm. We're going to look at exactly how to rewire your thinking to reach what we call quiet wealth. A place where your time and your money are just quietly working away in the background.
To get there, we really have to be honest about where most of us are living right now. Just imagine yourself for a second, kind of slouched over, sitting under this heavy, oppressive red glow. You're completely overwhelmed by this chaotic overload of bills, alarms, and that never-ending stream of notifications buzzing in your pocket. Our sources call this the modern struggle brain. It's that awful, heavy feeling of waking up and feeling like you're already behind. Your environment is basically dictating your stress levels before you've even had a chance to pour your coffee. You're just constantly playing defense.
But notice the immediate contrast when we shift perspectives. On one side, you've got all that heavy, frantic, red struggle. But on the other, a quiet intelligence wakes up. The noise just completely dissolves into this peaceful blue and subtle yellow clarity. This right here is the quiet wealth mindset. It is not about buying mansions or flashy yachts. It's really about achieving a peaceful balance that gives your mind the actual empty space it needs to think.
So how do we actually make that shift? Well, we start taming the chaos with habit 1, which is impulse control. Instead of living in this frantic impulse-click chaos, doom scrolling or buying stuff just for a quick hit of dopamine, you introduce the pause. Mastering your wealth literally starts in a tiny fraction of a second. It's that conscious, deliberate choice to just pause before you react. And that conscious pause directly helps us tackle habit 3, removing noise. Because, let's be real, you cannot make sound, strategic decisions if you are drowning in visual and auditory clutter. If you're suffocated by screens, ads, and a million different opinions, you're stuck. By actively stripping away those inputs, you step into a state of isolated digital silence. Embracing this extreme simplicity finally gives your brain the quiet room it needs to strategize rather than just endlessly reacting.
Okay, so once you've cut out the external noise, you've got to manage your internal focus. That brings us to habit 8, attention control. Instead of letting your energy leak out in a dozen different directions and wasting it on every random passing thought, you have to hold on to it tightly. Think about it. Your attention is absolutely your most valuable currency. If you leak it everywhere, you have literally nothing left to build with. You have to learn to direct it like a single, concentrated beam of glowing light.
Now, moving from mental defense to active structuring means we have to rethink the concept of currency entirely. This is habit 2, time value thinking. Instead of chasing a quick buck or some instant payoff, quiet wealth demands a total perspective shift. Money is, at its core, just stored time. When you stop trading your hours for fleeting cash and start viewing wealth as the accumulation of your own personal freedom, well, everything changes. And once you actually start valuing your time, you've got to protect it, right? That's habit 4, automation. Most of the time, we exist in this state of totally overwhelmed decisions. It's a chaotic web where every single tiny action requires manual effort and a brand new choice. But by building a smooth autopilot system that connects your bills, your investments, and your tasks, you completely remove yourself from that daily friction. You take back your mental bandwidth.
Which flows perfectly into habit 7, system thinking. Look, a lot of people set a static financial goal, they hit it, and then they're stuck thinking, okay, now what? Or worse, they miss it and feel totally defeated. Static goals are eventually going to crack and fail because they're finite. But when you focus on mechanical harmony, you build interconnected gears that circulate money endlessly. Systems do not care about your mood or your motivation on a random Tuesday. They just run. And that mechanical consistency, that is the absolute secret to long-term wealth.
So what actually powers those gears? The wealth engine runs on habits 5 and 6, consistency and delayed gratification. It is the daily, quiet rhythm of incremental growth, stacking those blocks one by one, paired with the patience to just wait. While the frantic mindset is always screaming for an instant reward, only to watch it disappear, the quiet wealth mindset sits back calmly and waits for those rewards to multiply into a golden glow. Small daily actions plus time equals massive, undeniable results.
Now, as you build this wealth, you are inevitably going to face outside influence. Enter habit 9, money flow awareness. It is so easy to drown in the loud, chaotic red opinion bubbles of news pundits, friends, and so-called internet experts telling you exactly what to buy and sell. You have to tune that out. Step back and just watch the analytical clarity of your system map. You have to learn to observe the mechanics of money objectively, completely free from the emotional noise of the crowd.
And maintaining that objective mindset is what protects you from habit 10, the upgrade trap. We all know this as lifestyle inflation. For most people, the second they make a little more money, they upgrade the house, the clothes, the car. They get stuck in this red reset loop with zero actual growth because their expenses just rise to meet their new income. The quiet wealth approach is entirely different. You maintain a simple, stable home environment while your yellow income line steadily rises in the background. You expand your wealth, not your expenses. Because that gap between the two, that is exactly where your freedom lives. To keep that discipline locked in, you need habit 11, long-term thinking. We are leaving behind the blurry, stressful tunnel vision of the present to look way down a golden blue timeline that stretches across 3 years of clear milestones. When you're stressed out, your vision shrinks, right? You can only see the next week, maybe just the next hour. But by practicing this habit, you forcefully extend your time horizon. You visualize month 12, month 24, and month 36. And when you look down that glowing path, today's minor setbacks totally lose their power, and today's small, quiet investments make perfect, logical sense.
This brings us to habit 12. This is the ultimate identity shift, and it asks you to take a really critical look at the role you're playing in your own life. Are you just a burdened worker carrying out repetitive tasks, or are you an empowered builder designing your future? Think about it. All the habits we just covered, from controlling impulses and valuing time to removing noise and automating systems, they all lead up to this one fundamental question. You simply cannot achieve quiet wealth if you still view yourself purely as a laborer caught in someone else's system.
So let's look at how this builds into our final state. It's about dropping that heavy burden of the worker to confidently become the builder. The worker archetype is weighed down, just caught in a repetitive, uninspired loop. But the builder stands tall. They aren't just lugging blocks around. They are structuring a clean, beautiful architecture of lasting value. They're constructing an asset that's going to stand on its own. This is the exact moment you transition from just working for money to building a machine that generates wealth.
The truly amazing part is that mastering these 12 habits does way more than just fix your finances. It literally rewires your brain. It transforms you from this chaotic red static into a clean, calm, glowing blue intelligence. Every single habit supports the others. Your impulse control protects your attention builds your systems, and those systems give you the time you need to maintain your long-term vision. It just becomes this beautiful, self-sustaining loop of clarity. As all that frantic noise completely fades into a single, faint blue glow, we're left with one very simple truth. Protect your peace, build your systems, and walk the path of quiet wealth. It is a journey out of dense, chaotic overwhelm and into a vast, open space with a golden horizon right in front of you. No distractions, just a peaceful, highly intentional progression forward. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this one thought to chew on. When you wake up tomorrow, will you choose to re-enter that chaotic red struggle? Or will you take a breath, hit pause, and take your very first step into a quiet wealth life?